You see, marionettes, my life, it wasn't always filled with the destruction where it is now. I was mortal once. For 20 years I walked among the people of my village. We made our own home after a devastating event occurred due to a war we had no real part in. It wiped out half our population in a few years before I was even born. I wasn't even born normally either. I was cut out of my mother, but never actually met my mother. She died shortly after my birth, and I went my whole life without knowing anything but ghost stories about her. Beautiful features for the time, amazing and caring personality, the whole deal. My father, on the other hand, was strict and deformed. He lost an arm in the aforementioned disaster when the warriors raided our village. I was lucky to escape, as I was taken by my sister as she escaped our house, and carried miles upon miles away from the place I saw as my home for only 6 years of my life at that time. When all was said and done, our father showed up 3 weeks after we designated where our new village would be built. He was missing the arm, as I mentioned, and had burn marks on the stump from what I assumed to be a fire that he lit to keep warm and used to cauterize the wound. Later on, my life went on as usual. Nothing really happened more than I grew up and was surrounded by family and friends. Then came the day I was brought into an odd realm. Nothing but everything. All was white, and there was a machine. A machine I didn't think our technology would ever reach. I was brought into it, and then darkness. Woke up in the same void. It was bright, but so was I. I was now this white being, barely visible in contrast to the void itself. All I had were my eyes, now a deep red that glowed bright. Now, as you all know, I have this suit and tie and a pair of glasses. This is only from how I later manifested to one of my first civilizations. They portrayed me as such, and I followed in their design. They lived in harmony until a war broke out, and I did a bit too much to try and help, and ended up burning their world in the end, seeing no real potential after the damage had been done. I later moved on to the next, which was more successful. They lived hundreds of years, only dying out because of internal conflict, to which I surprisingly had no part in. I merely watched them out of fear for recreating what I had done with the last. Then we have the one I have talked about before, the one I interacted with more and had my first champion. You know how it ended. Champion killed the ones who didn't follow, then killed himself. I burned that world, seeing no use in it. I later took a break, knowing my decisions wouldn't be the same as if I didn't. Clearly, I didn't change much, as now we arrive at the current civilization. Your story is written in blood, just like the rest.